Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Welcome to Jibber. As always, I am your host, Skajarmas, otherwise known as Tone Shift. With me today, we have, joining us after a very long time of just kind of not, we have Blank Page, the author of Human Nature and Their Very Own Sons.
Guess who's back? Back again. Blank is back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back?
Stop.
I can't sing.
No, you cannot. And I still have introductions to go through. Speaking of, I should probably turn on that particular topic tab. Okay, apparently that topic tab just doesn't want to work. Okay. Anyways.
My singing just had them at a loss for words.
Anyways, next up on the list, we have the purveyor of stories of a man named Ben Darkness.
Hi, everybody.
Sitting across
You're
from
British, not Irish.
Sitting across from him and chastising him for using the wrong fucking accent, you bloody heathen, is Tom117Z. The Brits are together.
Do you not hear Brexit? We don't allow foreigners anymore.
Next up, just kind of staring into your soul, we have Paladin.
Which is here, sorta.
Yep. And last but not least, we have Hades, who is also here.
Indeed.
Yep. So, how has everyone's week been?
Ill.
Good. Can't complain.
Average.
Yeah, mine's been alright. Been pumping out chapters of Little Consequences left and right.
Hey, I know how that feels. I actually posted one time.
Yeah, Blank Page actually fucking posted an update on his story, Their Very Own Sons. I'll be recording that this coming Wednesday, so in a couple weeks it'll be up on YouTube. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
Finally back. I'm sure you can talk about the kind of hell he had to go through for that after we get through the first topic and go to improv, because we have only one topic pre-planned today. Everything else is gonna be improvised. We're also
I choose to blame Darkness for making us do this an hour earlier.
Yeah. We're all Darkness, after we did this early, you'll probably notice this is going up like an hour before it normally does. And if that in any way annoys your OCD YouTube, well, I mean, I'm sorry, but suck it. Fuck you.
He's filming extra stuff for you this week. Deal with it.
Yeah, we're doing shit after Jibber Jabber. That's who knows how long we're gonna be doing it, and we're posted immediately after, and it's gonna be.
We're being held against our will. Help us.
No, we are not. So
I'm going to murder you.
Yes, so much murder. Give me a knife, and don't shoot me with that gun. Anyways, so we only have one pre-planned topic. We're going to be improvising for the rest of this day after that, but hopefully we can keep this topic going for a while. For context, before I actually say what it is or displayed on screen, as most of you know, Tom, Blank, and I write stories. A fair amount. And,
Yep.
I do.
I mean...
Well, two of us do, and one of us occasionally does it.
Yes, but the point is, we've all had something we've written wind up on the featured page. You know, we have audiences, however small they may be. We have audiences enough to accumulate in the hundreds of likes on our shit. That is small compared to some of the big shit like Past Sins or My Little Dashie. We're like 10,000 likes. Holy shit.
Okay, that's a little much in comparison. I'd say those are the really big ones.
Yeah. No. We're just big enough to catch like a few months of brief spotlight time before we're off the radar again.
Wow, James got 26k at one point, view-wise. So,
well, yeah.
I did pretty good.
Views. Yeah, but I mean, like, I think my top was like I don't even fucking know. Anyways.
What about Bug in the Basement that got featured in like less than a day and then like 1,000 views and like
The Change got
a week?
featured the moment it got up. I haven't had anything even close to that.
I mean,
Since
to be
then.
fair, Mother wound up being featured overnight as well, and so did Little Glimpses.
Please don't.
I
Mother
think
must show you the truth.
Sons technically got featured if you had the mature setting, the mature filter on. But tweets around on that, there's a lot of porn on the feature page that day. Ugh.
There's always a lot of porn on the feature page.
I know, I hate it. It's gross.
I just have that.
Like, what's currently on the feature page? Let's look, kiddies.
I always.
Oh look,
I,
it's Bowsette.
Actually,
Immediately there's
that's funny.
Bowsette. A clotfic about Bowsette. Of course.
Oh my goodness.
fuck's sake, we're
Do
talking
you
about.
know they already turned Bowser into a horse?
Yep.
Please
Can we just get to the topic I was trying to make?
Let's see. Can we please not talk about Bowser? I'm
Time.
fucking sick.
Oh
Oh,
look,
I
there's
see
also a clotfic about a non and a changeling.
Oh
Ooh,
God,
sauciness.
Tom,
Oh,
please.
bugging out.
Tom!
Yeah.
Yep.
Enough.
Didn't pick everyone.
No, I work
my.
there anyway. Okay, so the topic is, as we write, we get comments. It's only natural that some people want to vocalize their opinions, right? Well, as it so happens, when you have kind of smaller-ish audiences, there are some commenters who are going to be a lot more prolific than others, commenting on basically every single chapter you post to such an extent that you basically can just recognize them by sheer repetition and pattern observation.
I've also got, before we continue, I've also got potentially a subtopic. We don't have to mention names, but some of the dumbest comments we've had.
Yeah, we can get into that a bit further in.
I've got one Hades probably knows from FOE, my FOE pick.
Well,
Oh yeah.
well, we'll get to
Okay.
that. But basically, what this topic is Tom Blank and I essentially just thinking back on some of the most prolific commenters we've had, as well as some of the favorites we've had. The people who are able to, I don't know, just either put a smile on our face, make us laugh, or make us be thoughtful in consideration to what they said when it comes to their comments on our shit. And I've had a few. Off the top of my head, I have 4 names when it comes to just the Little Flashes series alone. There's King Cocoon, who likes to write me essays.
He writes me those occasionally.
Yeah, like he's a very methodical person from what I can tell in his commenting. Very analytical, very good at observing shit. You know, very perceptive. I've actually been able to plug several plot holes that I hadn't realized were there thanks to his observations. Like, oh shit, I hadn't thought of that. I better deal with that. And then I did. So kudos to you, King Cocoon, if you ever listen to this. So the guy's analytical nature and his logical nature, as well as the fact that he's not a prick about it, makes his comments a lot of fun to look at. I might actually pull up my web browser just so I can find some of my favorites here while I'm talking about this. Another one that I can remember off the top of my head is JMP. And the reason I like him is because when he comments on basically every chapter that he reads, he just spews out whatever happens to be on his mind as soon as he's finished reading the chapter. And this has led to some interesting and even sometimes almost poetic comments from the guy that are usually just entertaining to read because it gives the distinct impression that my work has an impact on him, which is a great ego boost for me because it means I'm doing something right with my writing.
Like you didn't need them.
Yeah. Next up, another one that I remember pretty much off the top of my head just because he was one of my most prolific commenters and has been more or less since the start of the Little Flashes series, is a guy named Comic Cook. And the reason why he's so memorable to me is because of his comment pattern. Every single comment he leaves follows the exact same structure. While the things he says in it is different, the flow of the comment is exactly the same. I wouldn't even have to see his name. You could just isolate one of his comments from years ago, show it to me, and be like, oh yeah, that's Comic Cook. He's that recognizable. He used to comment on every single chapter, but I think he got tired of trying to do that, and so he stopped.
Wait, is his name Comment Cook, did you say?
Comic Cook.
It would have been better if it was Comment Cook, because it would have made sense. I'm sad now.
Yes, well, as it stands, I also get a equestrian marine Sebast on occasion. But, yeah, let's hear it. As a good example of Comic Cook's comment style, if you'll give me a minute to sort through the hundreds of fucking comments I've got. Jesus fuck. Here he is. So, generally speaking, he opens up any of his comments with, all I can say is, followed up with some synonym for good, great, or excellent, something look along those lines, with the comment, and so I'll just read off one of his comments here really quick. And just as a warning to anyone who might be interested in Little Flashes series, this is going to contain some spoilers, humongous spoilers for Little Consequences. So, like, mute yourself for, like, the next 60 seconds or something, or just click away and get caught up. I don't know. Do whatever you gotta do to avoid this spoiler, because this is a big one.
Spoilers, dearies.
Yes. So, yeah. So the comment reads, all I can say is excellent job on the action, characterizations, and exchanges, all, in caps, throughout this story thus far. Well, both Chrysalis and Sombra are taken care of now, but as some other reviewer already guessed, I have a hunch that Stinger will eventually become a fusion of both of them in a way, focus on avenging Chrysalis and the potential to gain Sombra's power on top of her pre-existing changeling abilities. Anyway,
Isn't
now,
he a smart cookie?
yeah. Anyway, now, I have a hunch that with the exception of a few epilogue chapters that set things up for the new story, or possibly next few stories, this story is mostly over. Though I do very definitely look forward to those epilogue chapters and the next story or stories. Every single comment he posts follows that basic structure. Compliments on the highlights of the chapter, some speculation on where things are going, and some thoughts. And then...
Pretty good speculation as well. Holy crap.
And then saying that he's looking forward to more and encouraging me to keep up with the good work. It's always that format. Which is
And
why...
then he posts the next chapter the next day.
I mean, he kind of stopped after a while. Because I posted so much, I get the feeling it's just like, oh shit, I can't keep doing
It never ends. My God.
Going. Sometimes he does 2 chapters a day.
That's only that's only because
we live lives.
that's only because I'm near the end. I'm eager. I'm excited to get it done, and there's only 4 chapters left, by the way.
And yet this one was supposed to be the shortest.
Yeah, I know. We've already talked about that. It kind of surprised the fuck out of me too. Anyways.
Yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
mind of its
you're
own.
about 10,000 words from overtaking Queen of the Hive. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Just think if he actually does a reading of this.
Oh, yeah. Also, another one of my most prolific commenters, who I'm also rather fond of just because he has a sense of humor, is Fico Krusk. I think that's how it's pronounced. I mostly recognize him because of his kick-ass picture that looks really badass. But he didn't necessarily have any sort of comment format like Comic Cook does, but he's very prolific. And there's this running joke that he spawned in the chat called The Gong.
The Gong.
Allow me to explain. Back at the start of Little Consequences, when the story was first getting off the ground, he speculated that Wind Whisper had known all along that Thorax was a changeling. That the characterization of her brother that she was with was just a changeling in disguise. He speculated that she knew that. In fact, he was convinced that she knew it already. And even when I began telling him, like when I told him, you're making a lot of assumptions right now, he said, I don't care, I still believe in the Gong. I just kind of ignored it, but then it came up again a bit later. I was like, okay, I don't get it. Could you please explain this to me? And he did. What the Gong essentially is, from his point of view, is there was like this comic or something that was making fun of a thing, and I think it was Dynasty Warriors? I don't know, I haven't read it. He simply explained it to me, but in the comic, an enemy army marches up to a castle, and the leader of said enemy army rings a gong that he holds in his hands that is normally to be used by allied forces to signal to the castle to let them in. So sentries on the roof are calling back to her like, sir, it's clearly the enemy force holding one of our gongs. We can't let them in. And the guy in charge is like, preposterous. They have the gong. They must be friends. Let them in. And then the next panel shows the castle being razed to the ground and the leader guy speared on spears, gurgling up blood, saying, I don't care. I still believe in the gong. And so Fico Krusk has taken I don't care, I still believe in the gong as a way of stubbornly sticking to a belief even when evidence to the immediate and direct contrary is clearly presented. So even when it was finally revealed that Wind did not know that Thorax was a changeling, that it wasn't her brother with her this whole time, I highlighted this in the frickin' author's note. I posted several times where Fico was like, betcha she knows, betcha money, I bet Wind knows. And then a picture of some guy from a black and white video holding a wine glass saying, I think you might be wrong. And then his immediate response was, in all caps, I don't care! I still believe in the gong!
Stick to his beliefs.
So, and then later on, towards the end of the story, I forget exactly what prompted it, but I remember he just typed in the word in all caps, just one word, just GONG! and not all that long ago, Equestria Daily featured a picture of Lyra and Minuet ringing a gong in the middle of what looked like New York City. So I took that picture, sent it to FICO, and said, "Hey, I found the gong." And he just replied with that meme face of a guy puking up rainbows and blushing profusely.
God damn.
Wow.
This guy is kind of a running joke, but an awesome one. If you ever listen to this, FICO, hats off to you, man. You're cool.
Quite poetic.
Yeah. A gong! And there are a few others who are also, you know, kind of fun, but not as prolific because they haven't been around as long. Ekpone 3 is one.
Home 3. Really?
EK-Pone 3. Anon E Moose is another one. Pades,
Bro.
of course. I also get Admiral Q Pony Form, though I don't pay his comments much attention. Re2 Midnight Defender. There's a lot of them who I recognize just off the top of my head, but only a few that really stick with me outside of that. But yeah, that's it from my side of the fence. Why don't we go on to next in line? Tom.
Alright. As well as the prolific comments, I might as well go through some of the other things I have in mind. First off, it's not actually prolific, but there is this dude called Ren55 who's kind of interesting in that before I even started writing, I was reading his stuff. In fact, Equestria's Changeling Queen, which is one where Celestia's a changeling, kind of complicated, but was one of the first fics I read on FinFiction as I was just getting to the fandom. And only recently, I was reading like a spin-off of that series where I think I've talked about this one before. I wasn't too fond of the sequel, but the spin-off's still pretty good. It's kind of a Chronicles thing where I was just talking to him in the comments because about what happened in the chapter. I find out he is a reader of Harmony Among the Stars, and that he loved it apparently because he's a huge Trekkie, which was a shock to me. And he's also currently reading Change, so. Wow.
Your inspiration has come to look at your shit. Bow to your master.
So that was surprising.
You, Tom.
But yeah, among most prolific people I tend to recognize, Heartsfire is one. He's a dude, for those who don't know. Before we were on Discord, we used TeamSpeak, and there was a thing every now and then we'd hop in and we'd chat to some of the bronies, including one who was a cop called Bobby Brony. But yeah, he was like the host of it, and he still comments on my things to this day, even though like a year we haven't actually spoken to him. The whole TeamSpeak thing kind of died with the program.
Yeah.
No one uses TeamSpeak anymore.
Yeah. He still comments on the Bug in the Basement too, mainly because, you know, he commented on the Bug in the Herd a lot, and Bug in the Basement is a spiritual successor, and I posted a blog post on Bug in the Basement, or you know, on Bug in the Herd when I put up Bug in the Basement to announce to people who read Bug in the Herd that there's a spiritual successor, and Heartsfire, you know, jumped on. It's like, oh shit, new stuff!
If I recall, I left a comment on Bug in the Herd.
I don't remember.
Hmm.
Feel free to
I
go
think it was
back.
like a month ago.
I don't know. Feel free to go back and look. If you find it, let me know. It would be on filmfiction.net, not on YouTube, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
that explains it. I commented on the YouTube one.
I'm about to say you did a reading of Bug and Herd though.
Yeah, but I'm counting the readings on FilmFiction.
But yeah, I also have there's a dude called JMP. I think you mentioned him, Brian,
Yes.
so briefly.
Yeah.
He comments on pretty much all of the stories I post. He's nothing too spectacular, but he's a regular commenter on a lot of my stuff, mainly on the big chapters where shit goes down and I break people's hearts.
Yeah.
Because he's a bastard.
I also occasionally get Admiral Q Pony Form and anything that's not Change, because he had a slight meltdown on Queen of the Hive after stuff happened in that.
Yeah, he kind of had a gigantic temper tantrum.
Basically,
He killed his wife.
spoiler alert, I killed a character called Queen Draco, who was a character from the first fic in the series, and one people quite liked a lot.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, when I killed her off in a heroic suicide
Self-sacrifice.
kind of situation. heroic suicide since she was under the Empress's control, and directed
Little bastard.
a spell that would have killed Twilight back into her own skull. He kind of had a meltdown saying that Twilight's lost too much, I need to rewrite the chapter, yada yada yada, saying that this is basically that wasn't what he signed up for, despite the fact that this is the Chain series. By this point of well and truly established that people are gonna die. That's kind of
You get all that nice, happy stuff, and then Tom shits all over it.
Yeah, like the whole thing of the Chain series, it's a dark adventure. It has levity and nice fluffy moments, but people are probably one or two characters are probably going to die in the process. That's just something that happens in all the stories, with the exception of the current one, Change Area, which is all cute and fluffiness and totally not a false sense of not giving you a false sense of security or anything.
So you would never do that, Tom.
No, there's definitely no ulterior motive to having this cute, fluffy story following this cute little filly that can do no harm.
Except that one time she cut a timber wolf in half and then proceeded to...
Oh, that was accidental and it was trying to eat her face. And she was thoroughly traumatized.
She's so much like her mommy.
Yes, as Discord put. Some other people, I also have King Cocoon, who is also a regular commenter.
Didn't you have a queen named Cocoon?
Yes, he mentioned that when that first came about. He was like, it's kind of vague, but I think he was saying something about a gender-bent version of himself. But yeah, there's also Equestrian Marine Sebast, which you also mentioned, Brian.
Yep.
He often only comments the words Holy Throne whenever something dramatic happens. He's very much a Warhammer dude.
You know, it occurs to me, I think I got a lot of my commenters from you because of that April Fool's thing we did.
Probably. I do know some familiar faces over there every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, JMP and King Cocoon are quite often. Also, this Davis Cento V5, whose picture is an anime girl, is also a regular commenter. Geeky Steve, where the E's are all threes, is another one. Saying nothing particularly memey, it's just mostly just commenting on what happens in the story as it goes, and then occasionally I talk to them about it, and they put forth theories and whatnot. Other people, those are the ones immediately on top of my head and I can see here when traveling through. One of the other dumb comments I've got, I might as well talk about this now. Oh, and yeah, our Hades, he's also quite a often commenter on Borders Change. Andy Hades.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you have another guy on that story that does really comments on almost like every chapter?
There's one of them. A Christian Marine is also there every now and then. There's also where is it? Yeah, Keystroke Cascade. I think you might be on about. Is that him?
I think so. I mean,
he's not commented on most recent chapters as quite as much, but
normally I just go to Discord whenever I want to yell at you about something.
Yeah, he does. We've had long debates where I've teased the fuck out of him about some of his favorite characters. Apparently, we're very alike in that tone.
Yeah,
It's apparently just fun to torture me.
I like torturing both of you. I still keep hinting at the horrible things I have in store for Drifter and the Fiend's Trilogy whenever I get back to that, and Hades froths at the mouth every time I hint at it.
She's Wolverine Pony. I'm fully expecting a Wolverine akin ending. Anyway,
you mean her impaled upon a tree trunk and dying with her family and friends around her?
Probably. I wouldn't put it past you.
Encased in metal or something. That'd be pretty cool too.
Following the example of the mother or some shit.
Not quite. I got something horrible in mind, but not quite that. No.
I bet you fucking have. I may be an utter bastard, but you're the OG utter bastard.
He is
You
your-
may be a utter bastard, but I am the utter bastard.
Actually,
The
who
original
died?
and definitive, you might say.
You might say. Did I kill Queen Chrysalis first, or did you kill Celestia first?
You killed
He
Chrysalis
killed
first.
Celestia. I thought it was. No, I thought it was. I
Reality.
thought it was the other way around.
No. I didn't start writing the Fiend trilogy until after I had met Tom, and Tom had finished Change when I met him, because I don't record incomplete stories. He was already he was already pretty far into Queen of the Hive when I first met him.
Oh no, I wasn't far into Queen of the Hive. I was about like less than 10 chapters in, but I was started on it. Yeah. Memories of over a year ago now. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably going to still going with some of the stories I have planned after the freaking MLP Gen 4 ends. Hellblade.
Then we
And
get.
then have more ideas for Gen 5 if it's actually good.
We'll
Fingers
see.
crossed.
We shall see.
Anyway, back to what I was saying. One of the dumb comments that went on my brain in Fallout Equestria, War Does Change, my Fallout Equestria fic that I'm really enjoying writing. Well, it's I'm not going to mention this person's name, but they seem to be quite prolific in at least the FOE community on film fiction, and they commented on the earliest chapters. At first, everything seemed alright, except for that they didn't notice that Scrap Heap was a he until like 10 chapters in.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know if the main character was a he until 10 chapters in, even though
I remember that. I think
it
I remember
literally-
the guy. He's
even though
commented.
it said,
I think he's commented on mine too.
oh yeah, he said something bad about yours.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yeah, even though I like the third or fourth paragraph, it literally mentioned how he was once a little cult, quote. But yeah, I then got to let's see, where I was seeing where it actually I'm looking for the actual comment. Yeah, chapter 9, the village. Spoiler alert for what I'm about to recite.
Hold on, taking off my headset. Someone direct PM me afterwards, because I do plan on reading this at some point.
I doubt it.
It's not too much of a spoiler. Can you put your headset back on quickly? I need to ask you something. Hello?
Doesn't think you're
Let me,
gonna
let me PM him quickly.
This
That it? You good?
No, I'm not done yet. I'm just saying it's something you already know because you've discussed it once. It's not too spoilery.
Okay.
It's mostly around the village and who runs said village.
I mean, yeah, I know about that.
Yeah, it's just that one spoiler. It's not anything past that. Saying it's only chapter 9. It's nothing you haven't heard already. So don't worry. I'm not going to go into anything you don't know, Brian.
Yeah.
For when you eventually get around to reading the rest of it.
eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah, I gotta be in the right mood, and I will be eventually. I did,
You got a lot to catch up on.
You can't even get through the original. How are you going to get through this one?
patiently
it's-
and very
also,
slowly.
most of my chapters are shorter.
But
Oh,
most of
true.
your chapters
Most.
are within an acceptable range.
Most of my chapters. There is
And then he
one that's
writes
7K
one that's
and
like
one that's
20K.
9K.
The 9K one is not acceptable. The 7K one is.
Yeah, that most recent chapter ran away from me a bit. It took me 2 weeks to
It was
write.
awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, a lot happened. I'm not saying anything what happened because Brian, but yes. Anyway, back on topic. We're going on a tangent.
Yes, we're going on a lot of those because we don't have any other topics.
Yeah, okay. So it starts off chapter 9, the village. They've just come across our town and met a character called the Prophet. And in this chapter, the person comments, sorry, but if this is Starlight, as many are guessing, and she doesn't have a damn good reason for going back to evil, I am stopping this story. I respond with, going back, this is Fallout Equestria. Her redemption never happened in the first place. No Princess Twilight, remember?
Yeah.
To which he responds, you have gone. Can't remember how many seasons of lore after FOE stopped. Changelings did not happen in FOE because that season was now at that point. Neither did Starlight. And you want to pick and choose what you get from LP lore, pushing the timeline and then putting a pin in it where you want. Yeah, no.
Wow.
And then I say, actually, Season 3 happened since the Crystal Empire is mentioned here and in some of the other fics. Maybe not in the original by itself, but this shares universe with Project Horizons, Pink Eye, Murky Number 7, and Heroes. Changelings were in Season 2, and from nearest I can tell, the timeline divergence happened around the time of the Season 3 finale, where Celestia did not give Twilight Star Swirl's book. But that aside, Unicorn Twi was still Unicorn Twi throughout. No Princess Ascension, and since there is no friendship map, how would Twilight have known to go to a hidden village in the ass end of nowhere? He then replies, yeah, thanks for the ride, but I'm gonna jump the train right here before it derails. Nice idea and all, but in my book, you either take it all or not at all. None of that picking pieces you like and not the rest. And I reply, ending the conversation, I didn't. The timeline diverged during Season 3. Everything after that is different. Changelings were before, Starlight was after. There is no way Twilight delve our town without the map. There is no picking and choosing. Everything fits exactly into the timeline of events. I've put a lot of thought into that specifically. The only thing I'm getting from you is that you either don't like Starlight not being reformed. Sorry, cough. Still ill. Even in a universe where the events leading to such a reformation could never have happened. Unlike Canterlot Wedding, which happened before the show, and Fallout Equestria even diverged. And at the same time, the fics this shares a universe with have not explored either aspect in too much detail, which left me free to do so. And by your words of take it all, I'd have to have Alicorn Twi's actions from the show be relevant, even though she was never an Alicorn in Fallout Equestria. Would you have me contradict the source material, rather than painstakingly making it all fit in? Leave if you wish, just know that there is no derailment coming up, and your reasons for leaving and the logic behind it are baffling, to say the least. And everyone pretty much agreed with me.
Of course they would. That guy was a fucking idiot.
Okay, if I can just go off a little bit, because this guy, I know who Tom's talking about, and he did the same thing on mine when I first started. He basically read the first chapter and went off like, oh yeah, I've already just lost interest in this one. You literally either have done no research on the original and just going off and off about, oh, something with zebras and everything. And this guy is an ass, and he's supposed to be like really prolific in the FOE community.
Every community has the asshole.
Yeah, like, I don't even get his argument. Like, you can't cherry pick. You have to either take it all or not at all. Like, take what all? What you're saying I have to take couldn't have possibly happened in this setting. What is displayed as is a possibility that could have, namely, Starlight and a village having never been possibly found since there's no map, having to continue to exist, and then Starlight ghoulifying.
From what this guy is saying, like, he's not allowing us to have any creativity to add stuff into the lore. Like, he gets so mad if we don't stick exactly with the original's lore, which is stupid because that's just copying off the original.
Yeah, and it kind of the point of fan fiction. As long as we're talking about idiot commenters or asshole commenters, there is one from back in Little Choices that I kind of want to highlight really quick. Again, won't say his name, though I would really like to. But I will refrain. I'll be the bigger man, but I will highlight the reasons why I think this guy's kind of a dick. He makes relatively sound logical points, even if I personally and a lot of other people cannot agree with them. He has a very powerful hatred for Thorax and Starlight Glimmer both, to the point that when I introduced them both in Little Choices, he openly said that he hoped they both died at some point in the story, which does not.
Well, that's harsh.
Yeah, and then eventually,
all kinds of dark.
Yeah, and eventually, when I finally got kind of tired of his crap, I went ahead, pointed out why a lot of the things he was a lot of shit he was saying was based off of assumption instead of the facts I had presented in the narrative. So he was kind of jumping to conclusions all over the place, and eventually, you know, after a point of discussing it back and forth for a little while, he gave his input and opinions on Starlight. And while I can understand his position, I disagree with it, and I explained why, opening up with, we'll have to agree to disagree about Starlight. I, for one, really like her as a character, both as an antagonist and protagonist. It largely boils down to the fact that I can identify with her extremely well.
I think I know where this is going. I think I remember this guy now.
Yeah, I think you've had him a few times too. And the thing is, in his reply to that particular comment, the only thing he actually directly responded to was, we'll have to agree to disagree. And then said, and I quote, that is one of the most vile phrases in the English lexicon. Who says that?
So apparently you can't agree to disagree. You can't agree to put your differences aside and just get along anyway. One has to dominate the other. He's a nice person.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad he stopped commenting because I kind of just got annoyed every time he did. Again, he presents his points logically enough, but he also presents them like a Titanic twat. So I'm kind of glad that he shut up. Now, as it is, there is someone in this line of people talking about comments that we've been neglecting, and I think it's time we stop neglecting him because he's been silent almost the entire goddamn podcast.
Okay, so
his
I
speech
have
is
a
almost as
legitimate
rare as
reason for
chat.
this.
Oh my god, one at a time. Blank, go.
Okay, I have a legitimate reason for being quiet this whole time because I've practically been on my own air quote vacation cough cough from the site for like 4 months, so I'm like scrambling to find out what comments are good and prolific.
I mean, like, if you can't remember any off the top of your head, then they're probably not prolific.
Well, I mean, no, because I remember there's like actually like going over it, the very own sons, because I'm kind of staying away from human nature until I post, like the plague, because I'm low-key intimidated by my angsty readers. Yeah, there's I don't know, nothing like as huge or whatever as you guys, well, except for maybe one or two people. There's this one guy who came into their very own sons like a little late, called Advent Link, and he's just been like, I don't know, he just seems real cheery all the time. He just posts all these really nice comments, so of course I like him a whole bunch. Geez, I had a tab open, but I think I accidentally closed it. There's this other guy called the Other Sans, like from Undertale, and I don't know how he manages to do it, but somehow I always trip up on some sort of a grammatical error or something, or I'll leave a word somewhere it shouldn't be, and like I'll run it through like the word spell check and everything. I'll run it through the grammar check. I'll read over like 4 times, and I think it's perfectly fine. And then I post, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got these 2 things wrong." I was like, "Ah, shit, thought I did well."
We all feel that pain.
Do you happen to use Grammarly?
No, I don't actually. It's mostly just, well, like I said, Microsoft spell check, because it's got a grammar check in it too, which catches a lot of things I do.
Well, I mean, Grammarly is good for like if you have words where they shouldn't be. I use it a lot just before I publish a story. Like when I write up a chapter, I put it into like the chapter formatting thing on FimFiction, you know, the on-site editor, and then use Grammarly to fix up any particularly egregious errors left in my wake, and then I'll make it public.
But yeah, then there was one other guy who I nearly got a heart attack when I saw him comment, because I remember him as one of the reasons I originally started rewriting Human Nature.
Really?
Yeah, he posted on Sons. I was like, started freaking out a bit, but then like I just
am I gonna have to rewrite this too?
It was just him being his own silly self.
Senpai noticed me.
Like, shit, am I gonna have to rewrite this too? I don't want to. I'm still trying to get caught up in the original story. Fuck.
Yeah, it was a small heart attack, but like I was I'm not tuning him out per se, but I'm just trying to focus on finishing right now. The fact he commented on my other story, and it's just, honestly, I read this like 5 times now, and I still don't know what he's trying to say. like his name ventures out to stop. Oh, that must be Nightmare Moon. He arrives at Angsty Douche Horse's castle of Wanks. There he proceeds to slap her silly. Proceeds to like put dialogue into it.
What?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. It's
Was
just
that English?
so strange.
Could you copy paste it into the Discord chat? I'll read it off.
Okay, let me find my snipping tool.
You could just select it with like copy paste, but if you want to snip it, that's fine too.
Yeah, I just son of a gun. What is going on with my computer?
No idea. We've managed to keep this particular topic going for 41 minutes, though, so that's a plus. We're almost 41 minutes, yeah, about 40, 30. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Putting yourself into the story or something.
Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, Alondro. I've had
Oh,
him come-
Alondro. Oh yeah, I know that guy.
I remember him too. Okay,
boy.
for the audience, his comment reads, Alondro ventures out to stop Nightmare Moon. He arrives at the angsty douche house castle of Wankst. There he proceeds to slap her silly. Stop being a emo teenage loser. The last one sends her through a wall. Alondro grumbles and stomps out. Damned ancient millennials.
Wow. Can I punch this guy through a wall?
Why? That's hilarious.
I've had him a few times as well, and he's often irritating.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing on him too.
That was just hilarious is what that was.
Oh my gosh! After this, guys, I gotta tell you about this really cool koozie I got.
Oh, God.
No, like I swear, it's like imagine a snap bracelet, but it goes around your cup. This thing is revolutionary.
Well, you just told us about it right then and there.
Okay, but there's more. There's really not.
But wait, there's
cool.
more!
God damn it.
It's got a color,
Tone shift here for flex tape. Bam!
and you can drink out of the cup.
Good God.
So like there was a little festival going on last weekend, or this weekend rather. Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue were a bunch of like motorcyclers like just went up and down the road pretty much, and they had like, you know, a band playing somewhere, and they had a lot of barbecue all over the place, hence Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. But there was these people just handing out free monsters everywhere, and then one of them handed me this little koozie, which is really weird. I thought I had to like sign out a form or something because she had a little survey pad, whatever. It was just like this long. Can't really describe this without a video. Just like this really long, flat thing. I didn't know what it was for the longest time, and like, while you guys were just talking about your comments, I was just looking at it, trying to find out how you're supposed to fit a cup inside something that doesn't even have a sleeve. I just put a little pressure on it, and it all just kind of collapsed on my hand. That was pretty lit. Can't wait to like find the drink to actually drink with this now.
You know, for some reason that puts the idea into my head to just try and figure out the stupidest sounding. You know how like Billy Mays or whatever those like OxyClean or those flex tape commercials and whatnot, with these very energetic hosts with these very recognizable names who are extremely happy about what they are advertising.
Yeah. Wasn't he also like named Lord of Hitch or something?
I don't know. I just think it might be fun one of these days to just come up with some stupid shit like that just as a vocal exercise. Like, give me stupid, like, infomercial, product, commercial, 1-800 number type shit for me to voice, and I'll just improvise something about it.
You mean like a amazing snap bracelet drink koozie?
Something like that, but make it a fictional product.
Oh, God.
Take that shit on Dragon's Den.
That's a double.
Anyway, is that for that topic?
Oh, we've been in improvisation for about 5 minutes now. Well, 4 minutes, rather.
Darkness, how is Ben doing?
Darkness, my old
Oh boy.
friend.
Well, I think I have one more notable story of Ben.
Oh
I
god.
need to thank his brother for this one.
Oh boy, brothers! I have one. He's on the other end of the continent right
I have two.
Mm.
Fun.
now. Mm.
Yeah.
They're all older.
Ben's brother. Well, Ben's brother David told me this one because I was currently healing up from my injuries.
Wait.
thanks to him.
Before you go any further, Ben's
Mm.
brother's name is David.
Well,
Is David older than Ben?
yes, he is, and he.
Oh no! Oh shit! Oh fuck! I'm going to become Ben. Ben is my future self. Oh shit!
Oh no!
Because my big brother's name is David.
Oh shit!
Oh no! Oh no! I'm going to become Ben.
Don't be a Ben, kids. Don't be a
Well,
Ben.
good thing he's on
Don't
his
be
way
a
to
tall.
I
California.
think he'd be fine.
My brother
Everything's
spent a
gonna be
week in
okay.
California with his fiance. Fuck! Stop talking! You're destroying more parallels. My fate is sealed.
You have an advantage over Ben. You want to know what your advantage is over Ben?
What?
Your name's Brian.
Ben is stupid enough to seek a name change. Who knows? Maybe like at some point I knock my brains out in a stupid accident and become a dumbass and legally change my name to Ben because I don't know how to pronounce Brian.
Well, that seems highly unlikely.
I know,
Definitely.
but I was running with the notion because there were just too many things that lined up there for me to not.
I know.
Darkness, continue. Sorry for going off on a tangent there, but that was just too perfect. I'm gonna become Ben.
That's okay.
I'll clear my throat. I'm gonna need a cough drop after this.
Yep. Right. I was preparing for work because unfortunately I don't have the privilege to sit on my ass and let my injuries heal. I have to work for a living. And then I heard a knock at the door, and I swear if it was Ben, I am not going to be amused to see him whatsoever. I would not even open the door because I don't think I'd be able to hold my wage. But luckily, it was frickin' David. Thank goodness for that. So I answered the door and said, "Hey, what brings you here? Just wanted to check if you're okay." Well, if you want the honest opinion of how I feel, the answer you're looking for is like shit. The pain is still pretty much everywhere. And it's been about bloody 3 days, so it's taken a while. Well, on the lighter news, may have a story for you. Okay. Is it to do with your brother? You could say that.
Has Ben
What did I
drowned?
miss? Ah, the creepy bastard.
Ooh,
Oh no.
that was
You just
pal
brought back a
level.
memory of too many bad ones I come across. Okay.
Sorry. Couldn't help it.
That's okay.
Too easy.
It's okay. I'm wiping away the scars. But anyway.
Shit.
Coincidentally, this happened 2 days ago. So, a day after my accident, and 2 days in recovery. So, what has he done? Well, for one thing, he may be grounded to go anywhere at the moment except for one place. His new college. Wait, Ben got into fucking college.
Holy shit.
Yes. Holy crap! Although
I
to
might
be
point
fair,
out that. Can I just point out that UK college is slightly different to a US college?
Mm,
Like our university is the equivalent of your college. So
Mm. Okay, you know, maybe him going to college might be good for him. He might actually get a brain about that.
Oh no.
What does he do? Best to start from the beginning. Oh, goodness me.
Prepare for a 300-hour trek through Skyrim, Morrowind, and Cyrodiil for the answers to what Ben has done.
that's too well structured.
I was having my breakfast, and my foolish little brother was arguing with my mother. Can I just borrow the bike? I need to get to college. No, Ben, you're barred from the bike. Why? Don't tell me you've forgotten you hit your friend with that bike. I haven't, and I'm sorry. I mean, I swear I won't do it again. I know you won't, because you're not getting the bike for at least 2 months. Besides, your brother's using it now. But what would I do? Here's some money to take the bus, okay? Please, I can't really argue right now. I have to get to work. Well, see you at college, brother. And don't worry, I'll wait by the bus stop for you. And as I was at the shoot off to college, I saw Ben go the other way for some reason. I think. Well, of course, I didn't have time to ask where he was going, because he was across the road at the time I saw him. I just thought he's just going to his usual shop to pick up his favorite sweets and all that. So I continued on to college. As I arrived there, I locked up the bike and waited by the bus stop for Ben. The bus did arrive, but there was no Ben.
Uh-oh.
And I thought, he can't have seriously missed the bus. So, as a responsible brother, I was going to phone him up to see where he was until I heard a horrific racket approaching from down the street.
Oh God.
From the sound of honking, the sound of screeching cars, and a scream getting louder. Oh.
What?
Please don't be. Unfortunately, it was my frickin' brother from looks to be on a frickin' moped.
A moped. What's that? I'm sorry.
It's oh god.
You don't know what a moped is?
I am not educated in vehicles.
Tom.
Hold on.
Okay. Imagine
It's a form
electric
of
scooter that you
bike,
sit on.
but most people use for pizza deliveries.
Oh, so kind of like a fancy
It's a
scooter.
motorized bicycle.
Have you ever seen the Faggio
It's-
in GTA 5?
I don't play
It's-
GTA.
Okay, it's a cross between a scooter and a motorcycle.
Okay, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. I have the
I
image.
don't think you need a license to use that, do you?
You need at least a provisionary license to use it.
Well, he did have a license, and somehow still, despite his first instance, I don't know. I really don't know. It's Ben.
Well, he got a bike last time and hit you with it, so.
Well, that's a mountain bike. I'm grateful he didn't hit me with the sports bike he got, or I might not be here right now.
We're screaming down the road on a moped. What happened next?
I told my brother to stop, and he's screeching like a banshee. He's saying to me he couldn't. What do you mean you can't? Turn on. Just look. Use the brakes. The brakes are not working. Why aren't they working? I don't know. Ben, just get off it or something. Ben, and he drove right into college.
Oh. Oh.
Wait, he drove into the college with. I like that.
He was in the parking lot, and then the playground, and then he drove right into the building.
Oh. Through the wall, or did he crumple against it?
Coincidentally, his brother wished he drove into the wall, but nope, he drove right through the open doors.
Oh no!
Jeez, at
How
that
is
point.
this guy not labeled an SCP and hidden from the rest of the world? He having him around is an invitation for disaster.
Yes, it is.
Oh boy.
Oh, that reminds me of Silver.
I mean, Silver's not an idiot. He's just a klutz.
Yeah.
I was just
Sorry,
saying.
Silver.
Oh.
I love the guy to death.
He's a great guy, but he can be a bit of a.
servers.
He keeps hurting himself. Anyways, shit, darkness. Continue.
Yep. Okay. He drove down the halls, people getting out of his way, and him scraping a few lockers and nearly hitting people along the way. He then proceeded to the canteen, nearly hitting more people.
It sounds like
And
Mr.
he went
fucking
out of the
Bean.
canteen. Then he managed to get out of the canteen, but then started to head towards a lesson that was about to start in science.
Oh shit!
Oh God.
I was in security tackled him off his fucking bike at this point. God.
I was surprised they didn't. I didn't know where the security was.
Staying away from the action.
Probably trying to figure out. Probably listening to reports like, "There's a moped in the halls, sir. Please don't prank us. We have very important work."
Honestly,
You're
they
saying there's
probably
a
would
mo-
take it
you're
seriously
saying-
because it's students, but you know.
You're saying
They,
there's a
probably, they would go in expecting it to be deliberate, not just some guy who can't figure out how brakes work.
And then... and then... Someone opened the door to the science room. He barged through, but
God.
somehow he had enough brain cells to bail as the freaking scooter just rammed through the glass exit door and thrown out of the building and crashed and went kabloom.
I think the biggest question is he still at this college?
After damaging much of the college, from outside and inside, and especially fucking up the lab, he went straight to the headmaster's office after the most pissed off science teacher ever was not amused with him whatsoever. And Ben can only... And he's like, boy, what can you say for yourself? Sorry I'm late. Headmaster's office. Now!
What a god tier response.
And according to his brother, as he was with him for a short time in the office with him, the headmaster was even more angry than the science teacher. His face was bright red and you could see the veins building up in his neck.
Jesus.
He was not amused.
I wouldn't be either if some little shit came storming through my establishment on a fucking moped. Breaking shit, scaring the crap out of people, causing who knows how much money and damage.
Yep. David, can you please leave us a moment? I need to speak to your brother. Privately, if you don't mind.
I am detecting chainsaws. Red flag!
As he was
Run,
walking out,
Ben.
as he walked out, he saw the headmaster grab his phone. Either he was going to call the police, or the parents, or both. But
Yes.
as he left the... So as his parents come to pick up Ben, at the end of college, he managed to have a look of the damage to the moped just before he went off home.
Don't tell me he asked if they could take it with them.
I don't think he can, because David let me keep the photos he took.
Oh, God.
This is what's left of the moped.
Oh, you're gonna post them for us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
I'll see if I can splash them in here at the very end of Jib Jab. Putting them in the
Let's
right
drive mopeds into a college for a while. Oh god.
So not
Let's go college
only...
driving for a while.
Let's go not being a Ben for a while.
So, where's the picture? You're putting it in a roll call, right?
So I had to send it through my data because for some reason the Wi-Fi doesn't like my phone. So I have to use my data.
Fair enough.
There we go. It should be on the Jibber Jabber roll call once it loads. Come on. Don't freeze. Send.
Honestly, this sounds like an episode of Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Bean.
Mr.
Like
Ben.
Ben should just
Mr.
sell
Ben.
the rights. Ben should just sell the rights to these stories to some freaking company. Like, oh god.
He's...
Okay,
No,
I've
no, no,
listened
no,
to
it's
it
not
all
Mr.
the
No,
time.
no, no,
National
no, no,
treasure.
no, 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 it's not Mr. Bean. We've been saying it wrong. It's Mr. Ben.
No, Mr. Bean is actually his future. He just forgets how to say his own name, so he adds a name to it.
But yeah, not only did he get kicked out of college, but he also got fired from a weekend job he was working at. And
Oh,
the
that's
weekend
unfortunate.
job was freaking Domino's.
Was that why he had a moped?
Of all the places.
And that was his first day at college as well.
Fucking hell. The picture.
That's the only day.
The picture's still not showing up in the chat, by the way.
I know, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I just had to send them one at a time, basically. So get ready.
Well,
Alright.
well, as it is, we're over time now, so we sadly do not have time to grab the pictures and show them to the audience. I apologize, YouTube. Maybe I'll show them in some separate video later or something. Who knows? But as things stand, thank
Oh,
you.
there's one. Oh.
So,
Oh my god!
oh, we got
Oh.
it.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Why?
Oh my god!
Okay, never mind a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this. Okay, I've changed.
Oh.
Yeah, I see why Domino's fired him, because that was their moped, and
How the
that's a
how
write-off.
the fuck did that happen?
That will
How-
do it.
He put oil on the brakes because he said the brakes were stiffed.
Okay.
reasonable.
So when he crashed, the oil caught fire, basically.
So there
Right.
is the now very thoroughly obliterated Darkness's moped. And on that horrifying note, it is time for us to end this episode of Jibber Jabber. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We will see you next time. Bye-bye, people, and keep listening.
Bye.
Fucking Tara.
Toodles.
Bye,
Ban
everyone.
away from Ohio.
Jesus, I'm gonna turn into this fuck.